Chapter 1. Back from the dead. Again. I woke up choking on sunlight. Again. It was the kind of warm, innocent light that didn't belong in a world where I died face down in the rain 3 months ago. Bleeding out because I threw myself between my golden stepbrother and his glittering love interest like an idiot. Heroic, tragic. Forgotten immediately. And now I was here. Again. The ceiling above me was familiar. Cheap off-white plaster with that one weird water stain shaped like a potato. I blinked at it. The hum of the air conditioner. The faint scent of laundry detergent. My old dorm room. Fuck. I sat up so fast I got dizzy. My phone was buzzing on the desk beside me. Screen cracked the same way it had been before everything started last time. I picked it up. Date. August 22nd. The first day of college. Year 1. The same goddamn beginning. System 404. The same stupid system that chained me to this stupid story, and after everything I faced through last time, after dying and all, after sacrificing myself, and now it took me back. It pinged in my head with all the grace of a toaster falling downstairs. Welcome back, host. Would you like to? Shut up. Rude. I resurrected you. I yanked on a hoodie and stared at my reflection in the mirror. Same dark hair, same tired eyes, same I was built to be background character energy. This time I wouldn't be stupid. No saving anyone. No dying in the rain. No staring longingly at Noah like some rejected Netflix lead. I was gonna coast through college like a ghost on Adderall. No plot, no drama, no feelings. I didn't see Noah until that afternoon. I was coming out of the student center with a coffee in one hand and a very determined frown on my face when I felt it. That cold shift in the air. Like gravity had adjusted specifically to mess with me. He was standing by the trees, watching me. Same sharp jawline. Same perfect posture. Noah Grant. Model son. Overachiever walking glacier. Also my stepbrother. Not that we were related by blood. But the world didn't care. It had called it forbidden last time. Now it was just complicated. His eyes met mine. Pale blue. The kind of gaze that always looked like it saw too much and cared too little. I gave him a nod. Polite. Emotionally dead. Hey! His eyes narrowed just slightly. You're different. I sipped my coffee. That's a weird thing to say to your stepbrother on the first day of school. You weren't this detached. Last time. He tilted his head. I froze. Last time? My fingers tightened around the cup. What? Noah stepped closer. You used to follow me around. Ask about my classes. Worry about me and Jamie. Now you're pretending I'm a stranger. I laughed. Sharp and fake. Wow. Narcissistic much. He didn't laugh. Just kept looking at me like I was a puzzle he'd solved before and now found wrong. I turned and walked away before I did something stupid like ask him how much he remembered. System 404 snorted in my head. Plot flag triggered. Congratulations. I said no plot. You should know better. You're the obsession now. Back in the dorm. I locked the door and collapsed on the bed. My hands were shaking. Not from fear. From knowing. Noah remembered. Or at least part of him did. This wasn't a clean do-over. This was a test. And this time, if he came too close, I wouldn't get between him and Jamie. I wouldn't fall into their romance like a sad extra. I'd burn the script myself before I played that part again. Chapter 2. Stepbrother? I don't know him. The first week of college is supposed to be all wide-eyed introductions and free pizza. Mine? Full-blown psychological warfare. Day 1 of operation. Avoid the plot was already going sideways. I hadn't even finished my breakfast when I caught Noah watching me again. Across the quad, through the library window, outside Chem 101 like some sort of hot Victorian ghost haunting my schedule. Subtlety? Dead. Boundaries? Buried next to it. Maybe he just likes stalking people with anxiety. Big predatory energy. I muttered into my granola bar. System 404 chimed in with all the helpfulness of a wet sock. Somebody's obsessed. He's not obsessed. He's weird. He has memorized your class schedule. I said weird. Later that afternoon, I was walking into English Lit when I felt it again. That damn static charge behind me. I didn't have to turn. I knew. Noah Grant. I could smell his cologne, cedar and precision, the scent of someone who never made mistakes unless they were intentional. I picked the desk farthest from him and opened my laptop. Took about 8 seconds for him to sit right next to me. Seriously, I muttered. He didn't answer. Of course not. Talking would imply effort. Noah was more of a stare and ruin your life from a distance kind of guy. The professor started lecturing about tragic flaws in Greek heroes. I started counting the ways Noah Grant was the modern embodiment of a well-dressed catastrophe. And then, because the universe hates me, he leaned in. You've changed. You're colder. Guarded. His voice was quiet, low enough that the professor wouldn't hear. I'm older, people change. That's how time works. I whispered back. You didn't use to flinch when I got near you. I glanced at him. You didn't use to follow me everywhere. His jaw tightened. For a moment, I saw something crack under that polished exterior. Not anger. Worse, possession. I'm not following you. I'm watching you, he said. Oh, that's so much better. Thanks for the clarification, stepbrother. I loaded that word with every ounce of emotional pepper spray I could. His expression didn't shift. Is that what I am to you? I blinked. Legally? Emotionally? Spiritually? Yes. 100%. He looked down at my hands, still clenched around my pen like a dagger, then back at my face. You weren't this distant before. I swallowed. The air felt thinner suddenly. This was going off script fast. My hands were sweating, and not because of the pop quiz we were pretending to care about. I turned back to my notes and whispered to myself, yeah. Well, I wasn't dead before either. After class, I bolted. Down the hall, out the door, straight into the quad. I didn't slow down until I reached the edge of campus, near the pond no one ever studied at. I sat on a bench and stared at my reflection in the water. Same face, same lie. I wanted to be over it, over him, over this story that I never asked to be part of. But Noah was unraveling something I barely had time to tape back together. And the way he looked at me now, like I was the only real thing left. System 404, voice softer now. He's remembering too much. No shit. What if he never forgot you? Then we're screwed. No more eye contact. No more proximity. If I wanted to survive this timeline, I needed distance. Emotional, physical, psychological. I needed to be invisible. Because if Noah kept staring at me like that, I might start looking back. Chapter 3, White Moonlight Returns. I woke up sweating from a dream I didn't want to analyze. Noah was in it. Again. Not angry. Not cold. Worse, gentle. He'd said my name like a secret. Whispered it against my throat. I'd felt teeth. I threw off the blanket like it had personally betrayed me and stomped to the mini-fridge for an energy drink and moral clarity. Only one of those existed. System 404. So what was that dream about, huh? Shut up. Don't worry, host. Denial is a classic trauma response. Say trauma again and I'll factory reset you with a hammer. Campus was alive with noise when I walked out. Something was happening. Correction. Someone was happening. At the center of a very convenient sunbeam stood Jamie Reed. Delicate features. Big, kind eyes. Hair like soft gold and just as infuriating. The original male lead. The person Noah had been fated to love in the last timeline. White moonlight energy. 110%. Of course, they brought him back early this time. Why not toss in a meteor while we're at it? I muttered. Jamie spotted me. His face lit up like a puppy recognizing an old chew toy. Eli? Oh my God. I didn't know you went here too, he called. I considered lying. Faking amnesia. Moving to Alaska. Instead, I smiled. Hey, Jamie. Small world. He ran up to me with that open-hearted sunshine thing he does and pulled me into a hug. I stiffened, like someone had just offered me raw intimacy on a public sidewalk. He didn't notice. I was so nervous transferring in, but this is a sign. Seriously, I'm so happy to see you. Of course he was. Jamie was always sincere, always sweet, and always, unintentionally, the final nail in my metaphorical coffin. cleared my throat. So, how long have you been on campus? Just got here this morning. I'm in Grantham Hall, the same building Noah lives in. Cool. Great. Fabulous. I managed to escape after 20 minutes of catching up. Jamie was still sunshine in a bottle, and I was still desperately trying to avoid getting pulled into the same black hole of fate. Back in the library, I hid in the upper-level alcove where no one normal studied. I needed a plan. Noah was watching me like I was glass about to crack. Jamie was radiating protagonist energy. And me? I was spiraling in caffeine and regret. System 404 popped back in. You okay, champ? No. Want me to reassign the world's fate to a toaster? Tempting. Do they make toasters with less emotional baggage than Noah? Actually, yes. I stayed hidden until almost evening. Then I made the mistake of returning to the dorm. As I opened the door, my stomach dropped. Noah was sitting on my bed. Uninvited. Casual. Like he owned the place. Like he belonged there. I dropped my bag. What the hell, man? He looked up. Jamie's back. My throat closed. Yeah. I saw. Silence. I crossed my arms. Let me guess. You're here to tell me to stay out of it again. He tilted his head. No. I'm here to ask why you're not upset. I blinked. What? In the last timeline, you loved him. It tore you apart watching us together. You cried when we got engaged. I felt like the floor had vanished under me. You do remember. His eyes didn't blink. Everything. I took a step back, heart pounding in all the wrong ways. That's not supposed to happen. Noah stood slowly. You're not supposed to look at him like a stranger. I'm not supposed to be part of this story at all. That's the whole point. I'm the background brother. Remember? I die so you two can kiss in the rain. I snapped. He took a step toward me. I stepped back again. I'm not doing that again, I whispered. I'm not letting you. Something about the way he said it chilled me more than any of his usual Ice Prince tones. Because it sounded like a promise. Noah moved closer until I could feel the heat of him. His voice dropped. You can lie to yourself all you want, but I see it. You're different now. Stronger. Colder. You think that'll protect you. His eyes burned. It won't protect you from me. I shoved past him and slammed the bathroom door behind me. Hands braced on the sink. I stared at my reflection. Flushed cheeks. Wild eyes like I'd run miles instead of stood still. I didn't ask for this. I didn't want to be remembered. But Noah Grant remembered everything. And he wasn't playing by the old script anymore. Chapter 4. Don't look at me like that. Some people have emotional support animals. I had a reusable water bottle and a playlist of aggressive indie pop to drown out the sound of my stepbrother breathing. It was day 4 of avoidance protocol. Keep my head down, say nothing personal, and act like the last lifetime was a fever dream sponsored by trauma. It had been working, sort of, until I walked into the kitchen and found Noah barefoot, in my hoodie, slicing an apple like he was rehearsing for a psychological thriller. Why are you wearing that? I asked before my brain could stop my mouth. Noah didn't look up. It smells like you. Okay. Gross. Illegal. Deeply uncalled for. I blinked. That's not a normal thing to say to someone. It is when you're mine. I choked on nothing. Excuse me. He set the knife down with surgeon-level precision, finally lifting his gaze to mine. Too direct. Too quiet. Too much. You were mine before. You just didn't realize it. I backed up half a step. We're not doing this. Whatever unhinged possessive monologue you're building up to, skip it. Go full silent movie instead. His expression didn't change, but something behind his eyes did. Something dark and aching and too close to the way he looked the night I died. You're afraid of me, he said. Not a question. I rolled my eyes hard enough to see my past lives. I'm not afraid. I'm emotionally allergic. Very different. Noah walked around the counter, slow and controlled, like I was going to bolt and he was already planning how to catch me. Then why won't you look at me? I stared at the floor. Eli, I swallowed. Because you're not supposed to look at me like that. He stopped, just a breath away. Like what? Like I matter. There it was. out in the air. Stupid. Vulnerable. Raw. He didn't flinch. You do. I laughed. Bitter. Not in the last script, I didn't. I died so you could kiss Jamie under a cherry tree or whatever. You held his hand. I got a headstone. I remember. Then stop pretending this means something. I'm not pretending. His voice was low, dangerous. Not because he was threatening me, but because it sounded real. Like he believed every word coming out of his mouth. I didn't realize how much I hated the story until you were gone. That shut me up. He took another step closer. Our bodies almost touched. I thought you were just background. Safe. But then you bled for me. And I couldn't unsee it. His voice cracked, just slightly. You were never a side character. You were the whole fucking plot. Couldn't breathe. My heart pounded like it was trying to warn me. Danger. Complication. Attachment. And still I didn't move. Because part of me wanted to believe it. Even though I knew better. Later that night I couldn't sleep. Not because I was scared. Because for the first time in 2 lives, Noah looked at me like he saw me. Like I was real. And I wasn't sure which was worse. That he meant it, or that I wanted him to. Chapter 5. The Forbidden Taste Test. There's a specific kind of tension that lives in the walls when someone wants you, and you're pretending not to notice. Noah had been radiating it like a space heater on max quiet, slow burning, obsessive tension. I tried to ignore it. Truly, I did. I avoided his gaze. I wore baggy hoodies. I stopped breathing when he walked by. Didn't matter. Noah Grant was not built to be ignored. It started with breakfast. The kitchen was still half dark when I stumbled in, bleary-eyed and hoodie-swaddled. My brain was running on one energy drink and one very firm internal rule. Do not engage. Noah was already there. Of course. His sleeves were rolled up, and he was cooking something that actually smelled good. Are you making pancakes? He didn't look at me. You like blueberry. That was a weirdly fast answer. You always left the blueberries for last. Like they were a reward. I stared at him. That's not sweet. That's creepy. Maybe. Still true. He flipped the pancake. Perfect golden brown. I opened the fridge to avoid looking at his arms. Or his face. Or the fact that his hair was slightly messy. Like he'd just rolled out of bed and wandered into a domestic fantasy that did not include the forbidden part of our dynamic. I'm not hungry, I said. I didn't ask. He plated one and slid it across the counter. Eat. I narrowed my eyes. You trying to poison me or seduce me? His mouth twitched. Would it work? Oh my God. I sat purely to prove that I wasn't flustered. I stabbed a bite, rolled my eyes, and shoved it in my mouth like this was a hostage negotiation. And damn it, it was actually good. Like, moist but fluffy, golden ratio good. You've been practicing? I said with a full mouth, already regretting giving him the satisfaction. He shrugged. Maybe I wanted to impress someone. Then maybe you should serve it to Jamie. Silence. I regretted the words as soon as they left my mouth. I hadn't meant to say them. Not really. Not like that. But Noah didn't flinch. He stepped around the counter and leaned against it beside me, close enough that I could feel the heat from his body against my shoulder. I'm not cooking for Jamie, right? Because stalker chef vibes are reserved for your emotionally repressed stepbrother. I forced a laugh. He turned his head, just slightly, until his mouth was near my ear. I already know what you taste like. I dropped the fork. What the hell? He didn't move. You want to pretend nothing happened at that party. That you didn't wake up with a bite mark and my shirt on. I stood up, nearly knocking over the chair. You were drunk. I was drunk. It didn't mean anything. You weren't drunk, I wasn't either, he said. I froze. He pushed off the counter and stepped into my space. You were warm. You were shaking. And when I kissed you, you kissed me back. I don't remember that, I whispered. And I hated the way my voice sounded small, almost scared. Noah touched my wrist, gentle. Your body does. My skin lit up where he touched me. My pulse was a traitor. I yanked my hand back. You don't get to rewrite the script just because you remembered it wrong. I didn't remember it wrong. I just don't care about the ending anymore. His voice dropped. I locked myself in the bathroom again. Not because I was scared. Because I was about 3 seconds away from kissing him and I didn't trust myself to stop at one. System 404 popped up with its usual timing. So hey, random update. Your hormone levels are weird today. What kind of weird? Spicy weird. Could be adrenaline. Nope. Shut it down. Burn it. Block it. Too late. Your biology's doing something interesting. I sank to the floor. First the pancakes. Then the bite mark flashback. And now my hormones were acting up? Noah had tasted something forbidden. And now, apparently, so had I. Chapter 6. One bite, one night. I wasn't planning to go to the party. I never planned to go to parties. Loud music, sticky cups, half-drunk declarations of love that always end with vomit on the stairs? Not my scene. But Jamie asked. Of course Jamie asked. Just for an hour? It's a welcome mixer. You don't have to talk to anyone. He said, eyes too soft, too hopeful. You just want me there in case someone spikes the punch and you need a getaway driver. Exactly. You're my emotional support introvert. He grinned. I agreed. Against every instinct. Against my own survival logic. Because deep down I was still a little soft. Still the Eli who wanted to pretend this world could be something else if I just squinted hard enough. That was mistake number 1. Mistake number 2 was drinking from the red cup someone handed me. I didn't know who it was. I didn't care. I just wanted to take the edge off. It was sweet. Too sweet. And then everything went sideways. It hit me fast. A warmth blooming in my chest. Liquid and sharp. My fingers tingled. My heartbeat sped up. The room stretched. The lights blurred. Someone touched my shoulder. Jamie, I think, and asked if I was okay. I said something. I don't remember what. Probably a lie. I stumbled toward the hall. I don't remember making it to the second floor. Don't remember the door opening. Don't remember collapsing onto something soft. Just heat. Hands. Breath against my skin. A voice. Familiar. Low. Broken. Mine. Teeth. I woke up with a headache the size of Noah's ego and a sore throat that suggested I'd either screamed or made out with a cactus. The room was dim. Warm. Not mine. The bed was too soft. The sheets smelled expensive. The air had that subtle cologne scent I'd been trying to forget all week. I sat up. My shirt was gone. My jeans were half unbuttoned. There was a bruise on my collarbone and a mark just below it. Sharp. Red. Unmistakable. A bite. No. No, no, no. I scrambled out of the bed and nearly fell. My legs felt like rubber. My heart felt like a live grenade. The door creaked. Noah stood in the doorway, hair damp from a shower, shirt half-buttoned, calm, dangerous. He looked at me like he'd already watched this moment happen in his head 100 times. I backed up until I hit the wall. What did you do? I asked, voice cracking. He didn't answer right away, just looked at me, gaze dragging slowly from my face to my chest, to the bite mark. I told you you taste like home, he said quietly. You drugged me. His jaw tensed. No, someone else did. I found you wandering in the hallway, barely conscious. You said my name. I don't remember. You will. That should have scared me. Maybe it did. But under the fear was something worse. Curiosity. What happened? I asked. His voice dropped. You kissed me. No, I didn't. You begged. Noah. You told me you missed me. You said I was the only one who made you feel real. He whispered. I squeezed my eyes shut. My whole body was vibrating. Was it the bite? Was that some kind of claiming thing? I choked out. He didn't deny it. You're insane. He stepped forward. You came to me. You touched me first. Do you really think I could have walked away from that? My hands trembled. Noah looked like he wanted to touch me again. I didn't mean it, I said, a lie that tasted like ash. His expression didn't change. But I did, he said. I left. I didn't know how I got back to my room. I think I floated. I think my legs stopped working somewhere around the stairs. When I finally shut the door behind me, I slid to the floor and buried my face in my hands. There was a bruise on my throat shaped like obsession. A voice in my head shaped like a memory I didn't choose. Noah had bitten me, and worse, some part of me liked it. System 404. Hey, so, you might want to sit down. Already there, right? Quick update. There's a 71% chance you've entered a bonding cycle. What kind of bonding cycle? Like, mating imprint, possibly reproductive, minor biological hiccup. Are you saying I'm getting knocked up by my stepbrother? Technically, yes, but in my defense, you looked really into it. Chapter 7, Pregnancy Test and Other Nightmares. I didn't leave my room the next day. Not for food, not for class, not for air. I just paced in a sweatshirt that smelled like anxiety and whatever regret feels like in cotton. The bite mark was still there. Dark red. Obvious. Intimate in a way that made my skin crawl. I kept catching myself staring at it in the mirror, touching it like it was proof. Proof that Noah had gotten too close. That I'd let him. System 404 had the nerve to hum. You look nice today. Glowy. Say that again and I'll uninstall you with a rock. Okay, Moody. Just saying, you are technically in the early signs phase of bond-induced, cross-type gestational instability. English. You might be pregnant. I laughed. Out loud. For too long. It didn't sound sane. No, that's not possible. That's not. I don't even have the right organ. I said. You do now, congrats. Your body adapted overnight thanks to your awakened bloodline and high emotional resonance. Efficient. Huh. 404 chirped helpfully. I will drown you in my toilet. 2 hours and a frantic call to the only friend who wouldn't ask questions later. I was standing in the back of the campus pharmacy with a hoodie pulled over my head like I was buying black market weapons instead of a goddamn pregnancy test. The cashier looked me up and down and raised an eyebrow. Big night. I deadpanned. You could say that. Back in my room, I stared at the test like it owed me rent. You don't have to take it, you could just live in denial forever. Become a conspiracy TikToker. Claim the moon is fake and feelings are a pyramid scheme. I muttered. My hand moved on its own. Test. Timer. Sit. Shake. Breathe. I waited like I was on death row. 5 minutes. 1 line. Still 1 line. I breathed. Then, a second one bloomed. Faint. But there. Positive. I laughed again. But this one was hollow. No sound. Just breath punching out of my chest like it was trying to escape me. I was pregnant. Eli Grant, professional background character, emotional wall builder, tragic cannon fodder, was pregnant with my possessive, reincarnation-aware stepbrother's baby. 404. Yes. This is your fault. I told you not to look back at him. Why didn't you stop me? I didn't think you'd let him bite you like a feral vampire in heat. Get out of my head. Chapter 8. The Baby Daddy Reveal. I'd always thought that if I ever got pregnant, it'd be an accident in some twisted fanfiction, probably tagged with 15 warnings and a flaming comment section. Turns out, real life isn't that different. Except this time it was my body, my world. And the flaming comment section? That was just my brain. I didn't sleep the night after the test. I just laid there, staring at the ceiling like it had answers written in fluorescent pen. Didn't. Noah had gone quiet after our hallway standoff. Said he'd give me space. Then left like he hadn't just dropped a nuke on my emotional landscape. It was suspicious. Too calm. Too calculated. So when I walked into the kitchen the next morning and found him sitting at the table, sipping coffee and reading like he wasn't the source of 97% of my stress-related heartburn, I knew something was up. I dropped the test on the table in front of him. He looked at it. Calm. Then at me. Still calm. No blinking. No flinching. No yelling. Good, he said. I stared at him. Good. He nodded. I was hoping. I took a step back like I just touched something burning. You were hoping I'd get pregnant? You bonded to me. That doesn't mean I wanted to breed like a feral wolf in a mating fiction. His lips twitched. You're cute when you panic. I'm 2 seconds from drop-kicking you into the oven. He stood. Moved toward me. I backed up. He didn't stop until he was inches away. You're carrying my child, he said, voice low. Soft. Dangerous. You don't own me? I snapped, throat tight. He raised a brow. Then why does your heartbeat spike every time I get close? That's fear. Try again. I pushed him back, but his hand caught mine. His fingers slid gently to my lower stomach. Just a touch. Barely there. Do you feel it yet? He asked. I shivered. No. You will. I pulled away and turned toward the sink just so I didn't have to see his face anymore. You should be happy. You're not alone anymore. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere, he said behind me. I braced my hands on the counter. That's what scares me. Silence. Then his voice softer. I get it now. I glanced at him. I understand why you kept your distance, why you tried to erase the old story. You thought I'd drag you into it again. He said. He wasn't wrong. I thought if I stayed out of the way, you'd fall for Jamie like you were supposed to. I said quietly, I don't want Jamie. I looked at him, and for once, there wasn't any coldness there. Just a strange kind of heat. Something deep, ancient. Obsession, maybe, or something that had evolved beyond it. You want me because you remember, I said. I want you because I never forgot, he said. Chapter 9. Running away with morning sickness. I threw up in the sink again. That made 3 times in one morning, which beat yesterday's record by 1. Morning sickness. Hormone spikes suggest you're entering stabilization phase. System 404 chirped like it was reporting the weather. I'm entering a nervous breakdown. Big difference. I hissed, wiping my mouth. I caught my reflection in the mirror. Messy hair, dark circles, stress in the shape of a person. I looked like someone who should be sleeping in a bus station and muttering about the government. I needed out of this room, out of Noah's reach, out of this storyline. I'd played by the rules in the last life and died. I'd avoided the plot this time and still ended up entangled. So fine. New strategy. Evaporate. I packed quickly. 1 hoodie, 1 phone charger, 3 granola bars and a pair of jeans that still kind of fit. I didn't think it through, I just moved. Jamie had offered me his guest room last week. Back when things still made sense. He didn't know I was pregnant. He didn't know Noah had practically carved property of into my soul with his teeth. He still thought this was a love triangle. It wasn't. It was a warning label disguised as a romance. I made it as far as the front door. I hadn't even touched the knob before I heard the click behind me. The soft lock of Noah's bedroom door opening. I didn't turn around. You're leaving, he said. Not a question. A statement. I swallowed. I have class. It's Sunday. Extra credit. I already called your professor. You're excused. My stomach dropped. You what? I told him you weren't feeling well. Which is true. You're pregnant. You shouldn't be carrying heavy bags. I turned then, slowly, like a horror movie girl realizing the killer is already inside the house. You're tracking my schedule? He didn't blink. Of course. I'm not a missing pet, Noah. No, you're mine, he said calmly. There it was again. That word. Like it meant safety. Like it meant control. He stepped forward. I stepped back. I need space, I said. I gave you space. You gave me a window of oxygen inside a locked room. He tilted his head. You want me to unlock the door? I want you to stop treating me like I'm something you own. His eyes softened in the worst way, like he was about to say something tender. I'm treating you like someone I don't want to lose again. My breath caught. Noah took another step. I hit the wall. Literally. Back against it. Heartbeat loud in my ears. You almost died last time, you think I'll risk that again? He said. Couldn't look at him. Because the worst part, the most dangerous part, he wasn't threatening me. He was loving me, and I didn't know what was more terrifying. That I hated it, or that some part of me didn't. I finally whispered, let me go. He reached out, touched my stomach. Barely there. Can't. I locked myself in the bathroom again. It was the only place with a door he wouldn't break. And I sat on the floor, trying not to cry, trying not to scream, trying not to think about how safe I felt the last time he held me. System 404. So, You're not going to like this. Oh good. Stress is increasing oxytocin. You're bonding faster. With him. Yes. Pause. I think it's too late to run. Chapter 10 Obsessed, Not in Love. There are 3 types of silence. There's comfortable silence. The kind where you're at peace, maybe wrapped in a blanket, sipping tea while the rain hits the window. There's awkward silence, like standing next to someone in an elevator who just farted and both of you are pretending it didn't happen. And then there's this silence, the one so heavy it warps the air, the kind that feels like if you breathe wrong, the whole room might explode. That was the silence sitting between me and Noah right now. He was on the couch, calm and unreadable. I was on the opposite end, knees pulled to my chest like I could physically hold myself together. And the only reason I hadn't left? Because the nausea had gotten worse. Or because my legs stopped working the moment he said, "You died in my arms." He hadn't meant to say it. I could tell. It slipped out like something old, like something rotting under the floorboards of his self-control. But once he said it, he didn't take it back. He just looked at me, and I couldn't look away. "You remember everything?" I asked finally. My voice didn't sound like mine. He nodded once. "Every breath, every second. Why didn't you tell me sooner? You would have run. You're not wrong." He sat forward, elbows on his knees, voice low. "Do you want to know what you looked like? The moment you died?" "No. You should. Noah, you were smiling, even with blood in your mouth, even while fading. You smiled at me," he said. My stomach turned. "I hated it. You didn't even cry. You just said, 'It's okay. I'd do it again.' Like your life meant less than mine." He whispered. I wanted to deny it, to call him dramatic. But he was right. That's exactly what I said. I didn't think I mattered, not to the story, not to you, not to anyone. I said, staring at my hands. "You mattered so much it ruined me." I looked up. "Then why didn't you say anything?" "Because I thought I had time." He moved across the couch, like I was a scared animal. "I watched you fade out of my arms and into someone else's ending." He touched my knee. "You think this is obsession?" I stared at him. "Isn't it?" He shook his head. "No, that was the first time. When I tried to keep you close by pretending I didn't care." He looked me dead in the eyes. "This is grief, Eli. Rewritten as devotion." I should have laughed. Should have called him a liar. Should have thrown a pillow at his head just to break the moment. Instead, I whispered, "I didn't want to come back." Noah's hand found mine, held it gently. "I didn't want to live in a world without you." We sat in silence for a long time after that. Not the awkward kind. Not the heavy kind. Something else. Something that made my chest ache and my walls crack. Maybe it was the hormones. Maybe it was the fact that my soul remembered dying in this man's arms. But when he leaned forward and pressed his forehead to mine, I didn't pull away. Not this time. System 404. Bond confirmed. Emotional sync level, 92%. Is it still obsession? Not anymore. Chapter 11. Cravings and complications. I wanted hot sauce on strawberries. I didn't like it. I just needed it. Like my body was being piloted by a chaotic raccoon with a grocery store budget and no moral compass. "Noah, we have a problem." I called from the kitchen. He appeared in the doorway in less than 10 seconds. I wasn't even exaggerating. I swear he had me on some internal motion sensor like a security system. "What is it? Are you cramping? Dizzy? Bleeding? Are you?" "I need strawberries." He blinked. "We have strawberries. With hot sauce." Noah looked personally betrayed. "Eli, that's a crime." "I don't care, I need them. Now," I said, gripping the fridge door like it had wronged me. He stared at me like he was calculating the fastest route to the grocery store and also contemplating calling a priest. Then he turned, grabbed his keys and said, 10 minutes. This was the 3rd craving emergency this week. I told myself I wasn't getting soft. That letting him do things like rub my back or put his jacket over me at night didn't mean anything. But the truth was, the line between coping and caving was blurring fast. Because Noah wasn't just possessive anymore. He was gentle, and that was a problem. By the time he returned, I was curled up on the couch in one of his hoodies. Okay, fine, it was intentional, it smelled like him, sue me, and trying not to cry at a cat food commercial. He walked in, dropped a paper bag next to me, and crouched down. Hot sauce, strawberries, 3 different brands in case you suddenly develop opinions. I stared at him. You're weirdly good at this. He smiled small, almost shy. I had 9 months to imagine it. That hit harder than I expected. Noah, what are we even doing? I asked softly. He sat beside me, not touching, but close enough that his warmth brushed my side. You're growing our kid. I'm keeping you alive. That's what we're doing. He said. That's not an answer. It's the only one that matters right now. Later, he made me a weird little snack plate with sliced strawberries drizzled in hot sauce, and I ate them like they were gourmet. Noah watched me the whole time, looking amused, or maybe in awe. Do you realize you haven't cried once since we found out? He said. I paused mid-bite. Yeah? So? He tilted his head. You've been through death, reincarnation, memory resets, a pregnancy scare, actual pregnancy, and bonding, and you haven't broken down yet. I set the plate down and stared at the floor. I think if I start, I won't stop. Noah didn't say anything, just pulled me into his chest. And I let him, because even if everything inside me was a mess of hormones, trauma, and existential panic, he was solid, warm, safe. That was new. That was dangerous. System 404. Sync level, 98%. Tell me I'm not falling for him. You're nesting. God damn it. Chapter 12. White moonlight, dimmed. Jamie Reed showed up at my door with a Tupperware of soup and a smile like the world hadn't turned itself inside out. It was sunny. He looked good, of course. Angelic. Warm. Like a boy who'd walked straight out of the original script and never noticed the set burning behind him. I almost didn't answer. Almost. But I was tired of hiding. Of pretending I hadn't changed. Of pretending he hadn't changed either. So I opened the door and let him in. I heard you've been sick, he said gently, setting the container down on the counter like it was peace offering instead of a guilt grenade. Yeah, something like that, I replied, crossing my arms. He looked around the apartment, eyes landing briefly on the hoodie tossed over the couch. Noah's. My shoes lined up next to his by the door. Something in Jamie's expression cracked. Barely. A flicker. You and Noah are serious then? I tilted my head. Were we ever not serious? Jamie flinched like I'd hit him, so I smiled tight, polite, mean. Why are you really here, Jamie? He hesitated. I just wanted to check in. I raised a brow. I mean, I care about you, Eli. We were close. We were convenient. He blinked. I stepped forward. You and I weren't close. I chased you, like everyone else. Jamie frowned. That's not true. No? Do you remember my favorite class? I asked. Silence. My birthday. More silence. I spent years thinking I was safe in your shadow. Turns out I was just invisible. Jamie opened his mouth, closed it, finally said, I didn't know you felt like that. Because you never asked. He leaned against the counter like he needed the support. Look, I didn't come here to fight, he said. Then why? He hesitated. And that's when I knew. He wasn't here for me. He was here to reclaim something. Noah's not who you think he is, he's intense. Possessive. Jamie said. I know. I'm just worried. No, you're not worried. You're jealous. I cut in. His jaw tightened and he left without saying the farewell. Noah came home 10 minutes later. Saw the container on the counter. Didn't ask. I curled up next to him on the couch. Didn't explain. He wrapped an arm around me like nothing had changed. But I had. And Jamie? Jamie was no longer the moonlight. I was the sun now. And Noah never looked away from me. System 404. Plot collapse officially at 74%. And keep going. It's yours now. Chapter 13. Soft places to land. Some mornings feel borrowed. Like time slipped us a secret. Like the story took a breath and forgot to keep pushing. That was today. No deadlines. No blood in the rain. Just sunlight, warm and slow, curling in through the window like it belonged to us. I didn't open my eyes right away. Noah was already awake, barely. I could feel his fingers tracing lazy patterns on my back under the sheets. Gentle, mindless, the way you touch something you're afraid to let go of even in sleep. "I know you're awake," he murmured. I didn't answer, not with words, just pushed my face into his chest and let out a sound that meant don't ruin it. He laughed, soft and low. "I wasn't going to say anything, just needed to know you were still here." "I'm not going anywhere," I mumbled. "Good." His arms tightened around me, not like a trap, like a place, like home. We didn't get up for hours. No alarms, no lectures, no system warnings screaming you're off script. Just us. I think I smiled more that morning than I had in both timelines combined. Because Noah was different when no one was watching. He made pancakes again, burned the first one, swore like a sinner, tried again, and I sat on the counter in his hoodie, watching him like I'd never seen something this stupidly domestic before. "Why are you looking at me like that?" he asked. "You look like a baby daddy," I said. He smirked. "I will be soon, better to practice." How romantic. After breakfast, we ended up on the couch. A tangle of limbs and shared body heat. His head in my lap, my fingers in his hair. No talking, just breathing. I never thought I could have this quiet love, gentle love, love without tragedy biting at its heels. But here it was, and for once I let myself have it. No walls, no rules, just the truth. I loved him, and he loved me, not because we go against the script this time, but because somehow, through death and memory and madness, we found something soft, something real, and I wasn't letting it go. Not this time.